What is going on, all-terrain nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or these mid-sized trucks, I'm pretty sure we all like driving. This is your all-terrain nation. I'm your host, David Boyd, and hopefully you guys are having an amazing start to your Saturday. My buddy Tim over there was a little tired. He was a little tired this morning, and he's been covering a lot of news here lately. So I didn't want to bother him too much. I figured we let him go hit some golf balls today, and we'll talk the Jeep Gladiator, because I know Tim is not a huge Gladiator guy. So he probably saw the topic and was like, you know what? No, thank you. But I love the Gladiator, and hopefully you guys too. But hopefully, like I said, hopefully your day is starting out well. We got Mr. YouTube's Car Spotters guide, if I could pronounce it right, who I don't know. Here they are. Mr. Car Spotters guide sent us over to our PO box. He sent us some cool vehicles, man. I'll let you guys check these out. This was a little Bronco. I like how he put Nation on there. That was very cool. And then we got the old CJ, man. We got the that's always a cool one. Golden Eagle. You remember, the Golden Eagle, what I remember from Golden Eagle is the Dukes of Hazzard and Daisy. Yeah. Yeah, that white Golden Eagle. Woo. Anyways, Michael Cooper, what's up? Steve P, what's going on? Valley Dude is present according to him. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this topic. We will be discussing the Jeep Gladiator. But first, I have some news. I dropped a video. I had planned for it to be like 15 minutes before this one. It would have led into it. It was mid-sized truck about the Colorado ZR2 Bison, and I messed up the edit. So it's literally uploading now. After this show, it's scheduled to launch right after this show, so you can watch the actual proper edited version. I kind of effed that one up, so I apologize. I got a bunch of likes on it already, and I was watching it like YouTube, man, YouTube life. Anyways, so let's see, what do we got going on with the Jeep? The Jeep Gladiator is kind of interesting to me because I own one, for one thing. It's out in the driveway. We have around 10,000, almost 11,000 miles on it, and which is pretty low considering that I think the Bronco has almost 18,000 miles on it. And I bought the thing 6 months before the Bronco. And we've grown to like it as a mid-sized truck, but we've also like it as it's just a kind of a weird, fun, quirky truck. And from being able to be Jeep-like, you take the doors, the roof off, and all that, and actually doing truck things with it. Now, we have taken ours off-road one time, and I've got to buff out some pinstriping that that I did to it, but it's not bad. There's a few things about the Gladiator that is a little iffy to me that I would like to see Jeep down the road, kind of repair. But I'm curious where you guys is what are your thoughts on the Gladiator initially? When they launched this thing, was it like, what the heck is this? The Gladiator name was not really known for the truck. They could have used Comanche or something like that. I think would have been more appropriate for the name, but Gladiator sticks, and I don't have a problem with it. It's not like, Ford Maverick. There's always that there's still people that are upset that Ford used the Maverick nameplate, which they hadn't used since what, the 70s, that are, I guess like Gladiator as well. But the Maverick nameplate was a car, and at least the Jeep was a Jeep product as far as I can say. But YouTube Car Spotters guy says it's raining in San Diego. Well, it's kind of sunny here in Middle Tennessee. We've been battling some chilly weather. We went from 85 to back down to the 50s, and that doesn't seem too extreme if you live in temperatures where you deal with colder weather. But here in Middle Tennessee, that's like a little too cold. Broke Assay Overlanders, which we will have on the show very soon. They could have named it Brute, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely. Justin Zimmerman, what's going on, man? I'm working on a Trail Boss myself. I also can't wait to see you guys at Supercell. Yeah, the Trail Boss, man. You guys know I'm a pretty big fan of the design of the current Colorado, so that is a fun build. Let's see, Steve P, I like it a little long. Yes, that would be. What's up, Fubar? That would be one of the things the struggles I do have with Gladiator is the length of the thing. And I know I'm trying to find this video real quick, but I know when they launched this thing, there was a sales point to it that they wanted you to be able to carry your dirt bikes and stuff. So I can find this, because there was a good video. There was a good video from I can't think of his name right now, that the head of Jeep, not the CEO, but he was, I think, the design guy from Jeep. All right, I'm trying to do this. Ain't gonna pop up real quick because there's only a billion Gladiator videos out there now. But that part of the sales point with Gladiator was, hey, we people want to use these things kind of as a truck. We if you just cut it off, you would have a 5 foot bed where it would look a little bit normal lengthwise. And they wanted the ability for people to be able to tow things with this. And I commend them for that. But at the same point, I don't know that people are buying Gladiators to really go tow the boat. I can't recall anybody I've seen actually towing with a Gladiator besides maybe a travel trailer or something like that. What's up, Anthony? Um, the thing now I've towed, let's see, I've probably towed 4,000 pounds with mine. Tow's great. I will say the Jeep Gladiator tow's great, but I just don't see a lot of travel trailers or stuff behind them. You may in your area, but here in Middle Tennessee, I just don't see a lot of these things. But overall, what sold me on the Jeep was it wasn't a Wrangler. And I know that sounds crazy. Now, we knew when we bought ours, we knew we had a Bronco in order. So we had something similar coming. For the channel, it would have made sense to buy a Wrangler, and then I could have A/B compared these things all day long. That would have been fun, but I didn't want if I'm spending a lot of money in my Gladiator, I think booked out around 50, I think out the door it was like $50,000. If I'm spending that kind of money, I just want something a little bit different. Now there are all the fun Jeeps. You get in the middle of the thing or you get behind the wheel of this thing and it feels, yeah, it feels like a normal Jeep. All the buttons, the layouts, all similar, which is something that me and Kelly have dinged Jeep for in the past with some of the reviews, some of the press events we've been to. Is I remember our first time getting in the 392. It felt like everything else I'd been in. There was nothing really in the interior wise special about it besides the bronze accent colors they've used. You know, a little bit of the leather on the dash, but other than that, it just felt like everything else of Jeep. So I wish that at launch they would have given the Gladiator just a little bit of its own feel, but also at the same point, I understand. They don't want to tear away from their own market. If somebody was in a Wrangler that wanted to go to this, they wanted them to feel at home with it. And so I totally get that. But the first thing we did when we bought ours, I literally I didn't even drive one. I mean, obviously we reviewed vehicles, but I just called up my at the time, let's see, it was May of 2021. So it was getting hard to get vehicles. I called up a dealership. We have the let's see if I can find a picture of it. We have the Snazzleberry. Sorry, it's hard to type and talk. I have Kelly or somebody here, but we've got the Snazzleberry, and there we go. Bring this up here for you guys so we can play along at home. And I knew the color we wanted. My daughter, bless her heart, wanted a purple Jeep. My brother had a before he passed away, he had a Jeep. Got her into the Jeep. She loved this thing, and she always told me I wanted a purple Jeep. So we kind of this is our Gladiator. As you can see, it is for sale. But we wanted a nice color. I think the Snazzleberry is a very nice looking color, but I didn't want to go extreme package with ours. We could have went Rubicon or the Mojave and had built an ultimate rig, but I kind of wanted the middle ground when we bought ours, something that probably more people were going to buy than the higher end stuff. So we chose this is the Willys Sport Edition, and with Sport you get a lot of cool features. We got the cold weather package, so we got heated seats and steering wheel. Cloth seats though. You are getting a little bit of the Rubicon package with this thing. So you do get rock rails, the bigger tires. You're getting the red shocks like they put on the last generation Rubicon. Now this bumper, I did add the bumper there, but you're getting a lot of nice features. And what sold me was I like the black grille. I've seen these with the Snazzleberry with the all complete painted grille and the tops, and it's too much for me. So I kind of like the black accents. I love the black wheels, the Rubicon wheels that they put on it with the black grille. I think it was a good choice for us. So like I said, we were $50,000 out the door with this thing, and it says we have. I think I put on about 100 more miles since I posted this. But we've done some fun things to ours. Like I said, bumpers, these 67 designs. Now, this is out of the Bronco, but we've used 67 designs for our phone mount options. And that's about it. I wanted to leave this thing alone. I wanted to just go have fun with it how it is. Now, since then, I have added a 1-inch level, inch and a quarter, I guess, level lift in the front of this thing just to bring it up a little bit. Because like most vehicles, when you see them, they have the brake rate. So it's all the weight out front. Most of your brakes are working in the front, so you don't need the vehicle level, so it will dive more in an emergency braking situation. But it's a Jeep. I wanted it up a little bit, and we took this thing to Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee last year, and had a lot of fun, man. It was interesting. The doors and tops on the doors especially on this is a little different than the Bronco. So if you're a Bronco guy watching this, I find the Jeep doors to be much easier to take on and off. There is a little screw at the bottom down here. Let me show you. So there is a little screw down here. I took that out. Amazon that makes these little plugs you screw in, so you can just literally slide the doors on and off. I don't have to worry about unbolting all that stuff. And it's still very secure when the door's shut. You've got all the safety latches and stuff on the interior of it, so it's not going to fly off. But we do take the doors off quite a bit on these things when we go around town. And we bought some tube doors for this, and we had fun with it. Now, we took it to Windrock, which was interesting because we took it. It was the last year of our Nissan event that we used to put on. And Kelly had sold her Xterra. We had this. This was our off-road vehicle. And we had a blast till the length of this thing, like somebody said before, the length is where we got in a little bit of trouble with this thing because, the two-door Broncos, two-door Wranglers are great because you don't get high-centered a lot. Well, this thing will get you high-centered pretty quickly. So if you're new to this kind of vehicle, you do have to, it's a different wheeling style than per se the Wrangler or Bronco is. So that was something we had to adapt to a little bit. But overall, did great. Now, it's got I believe, a limited slip in the rear of this thing, which I couldn't tell you ever works. The limited slips to me are, if it's a car, that's one thing. In off-road, I either want a locker or just don't put anything in it for me. But overall, we've had a blast with ours, and I'm not going to wear you guys out with just talking about ours because I want to get into some of Jeep's got some new stuff they're doing for the Gladiator, and I'm interested in your opinion on it. Plus, I have some thoughts of something that might be coming for the Gladiator that I think you guys might want to know about. So I got to save this silly photo. But they've got some new colors coming, and it's about due for a refresh, a mid-model refresh. Both it and Wrangler are due, and as I said earlier, they look similar, and which may be a good thing and it may be a bad thing. But I think in the mid-model refresh, I would like to see Jeep kind of separate the Gladiator a little bit. It was okay to introduce it more like the Wrangler, but let's start separating it just slightly. So you're not just like it's apples to basically a different flavored apple. So hopefully that happens. Let's see in the comments before we get too deep into this thing. Broadcast Overlander says he bought his Gladiator to pull a camper in the woods, which I know. I'm not saying they can't do it. I think the rating is 7,500, something like that. They definitely can tow, and Jeep shows it towing like crazy. They have zero issues saying it can't tow, and it's on a little bit heavier duty chassis than the current Wrangler because it needed to be. I think engine options would have been the current engine option that it has in it was a 3.6. It's bland, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I guess it's got plenty of power, but at the same point, it doesn't. It's not exciting. You stomp it, it's just goes. It doesn't throw you back in the seat excitingly. Neither do Wranglers really. I guess you can get the little 2-liter turbo 4, in the hybrid version that will put you back a little bit, or you just want the 392. But the vehicles, the motor wise, the drivetrain is just a little bit of bland. There we go. Sorry, I'm looking for in their media site. Jeep Stellantis has one of the least favorable sites for media to jump into. Here we are. Here's their big motor option. I'll pop this up here so you guys can see this. So this is the current 3.6, I believe. One thing Jeep knows very well is look where the alternator is in this. When they do an off-road product, they know keep the alternator out of harm's way because, well, Bronco guy knows, like in the 2.7, man, they put the radiator at the bottom of the engine, and you go through heavy dirty water, mud, and it's just killing alternators. But overall, this thing's pretty nice. Start-stop technology is a little annoying, but that's the world we live in right now. So here is there's the Rubicon version, which, as you can see, king of the mountain. And as of adventure trucks right now, I would say it's pretty close to the king of the mountain till we see the new ZR2, till actually first drives of the new ZR2 Colorado come in. Um, so we know what to expect with this. I would say the current king right now is the Rubicon. It's you're getting front rear lockers in the thing. You're getting the sway disconnect, which being a Jeep product, you've got to be almost perfectly situated for it to the sway bar to disconnect. But it is a nice option to have. The rock sliders on it come, you get 33s rock sliders with the Gladiator. You can get 2 tire options if you want more of a mud terrain tire, or you can get more of an all terrain tire. And there's always the cool thing with the Jeep products is you get the options for winch bumpers, stuff like that. And the rumor was going around with Bronco initially. Oh, we're going to do a Bronco version of this thing, and I, for one, I would be very, very excited by a Bronco truck to compete with this. But overall sales have been pretty good on this thing, but not, I don't think enough that Ford's looking at it going, we need a piece of that. Maybe they've just conceded to let Jeep have this. I was told initially this might be a one cycle run of this thing, but the numbers I've seen of it are I would think they've been 60 to 100,000. So that's not bad. And as long as it's not peeling away from Wrangler, and it doesn't seem to be, because Wrangler sales have still been near 200,000 a year. So that's keeps both of them in check. And they're both built in my home state, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. I've been to this plant a couple times. It's a pretty massive plant, though not the largest plant, but when you drive by it, you would think it's one of the largest plants out there. But Bronco or YouTube Car Spotters Guide says the Gladi needs a 392. Now, you say that, and I don't think they're ever going to do that. I think I think that well, for one, we do know that Jeep, Dodge, and all of them are going away from V8s. I think you're maybe at a year or so, the 392 goes away in a Wrangler. I think they kind of with the maybe like a last hurrah of that. Jeep or Stellantis in general, especially with Dodge, they're doing that right now with the Challenger Chargers. They're pushing this. Hey, here's the last chance. You want a big V8 in these things, and because they're going EV, which is, I'm torn on that. But I think more than likely what you'll see in the next Gladiator is the Hurricane, the little inline 6 engine, which is Jeep guys love the inlines. The days of the 4 liters, the inlines, man, the people love that. They were so upset when the new or the last generation Jeep came out and they had a V6 in it. People were upset about that, and they've adapted. But I think having driven the Hurricane engine, that would be a lot of fun in this truck. And I mean, a lot of fun. I think you could take the tow ratings up a lot in this thing. Not that you don't want this thing to get over 8,000 pounds, because I think there is a safety issue for the size of the vehicle and what people, if you say tow 8,000 pounds, there's always, everybody wants to go, oh, that means 10,000, right? Because they do it in full size trucks. You want to tow 12,000, what Ford's F-150 is around 12,000 pounds right now. And I see people with these just massive, these mega trailers behind those things, and the poor trucks. It's scary, but people don't seem to pay much attention to that. But I do think the Hurricane engine in this thing is what might happen. I think maybe for 24 that might happen, and you might see somebody on the channel soon to talk about that on one of our other shows. But this thing overall, though, ride quality is Jeep, and this is where I think that Jeep could fix the Gladiator and make it a better vehicle than the Wrangler, is if they were to take this thing and go independent front suspension. Now, I've said this, I've done videos on this with the Jeep brand in general, that I think the CEO has said it, that at some point they will go independent front suspension with the Wranglers. But I think people would be more willing to adapt to the Gladiator going that way than Wrangler right now. I think if you drive one of these things, it does the wander. It's all over the road. Now you can put the stabilizers out front on these things, and it does help the wandering ever so slightly. But Kelly's first impression of this, she took it to Florida, and what is that, about, I forget how many miles, 600-800 miles in this thing each way, and she got to where it was wearing her out. Driving, you do participate to drive in this. I've said this many times. You can get behind a Bronco or any full-size truck. They don't wander. They just, you can one-handed drive. With a Jeep product, you've got to participate in the driving. So it can, a product like this can over time on long hauls can kind of wear you out mentally a little bit. But I'm not saying it's a bad drive. I'm just saying it's an old school drive. But so Kelly took this thing to Florida and had a blast in Florida with it. But she did, her concern was how you would hold the steering wheel and you could just feel it. You could feel the truck wandering because of the solid front axle. So I do think if they were to keep the Rubicon Mojave, there's ways they can adapt independent suspension in these things where you can keep the solid axle for your off road, your heavy duty off road trims. But I think if 9 times out of 10, if you put a person if there was a way to do a blindfold test and you put them if you made one a normal Wrangler or Gladiator independent front suspension, you didn't tell them what they could feel the steering wheel, they knew what they were in, the way the seating position was, and they drove it 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you they would prefer the independent front suspension on these things. But we're in a vehicle that's made to adventure, so you have to keep that in mind. And adventure this thing does, because at launch this thing was all over YouTube. I mean, all over it. Your trail recons, everybody had to have one. And I think the biggest thing was that everybody had to be the first to put 35s under it, then 40s. And I will say, when you put a 35 under this, the length of the truck somehow comes together, and the larger tires makes it feel more appropriate. Thank you, YouTube Car Spotters Guide. But 35s, that's the new 33s. When I was a long time ago into off-roading, if you put 33s under a vehicle, you were some massive vehicle. And now it's getting to be 40s, or if you don't put 40s under something, it's ridiculous. But 35s under this thing, I think, are perfect. My current Gladiator has 32-inch tires under it, and I'd planned on putting, when we switched our Gladiator or our Bronco tires out, which were 315/70/17s. We were going to put those under the Gladiator, but we're trying to sell the thing. Well, I'm not trying very hard, but it is for sale. I thought, I don't want to, if I were to take this to a dealership and unload it, they will ding you for that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what, let's just leave it pretty much factory and we'll go from there. But I think it would have looked pretty freaking epic. Fubar Medic says, I agree. The IFS is the move they need to make. Yes. Once again, I really do. And I think Wrangler can do the same thing. I think, like I said, I did a video on this a few months back that nobody watched for some reason. I think because Jeep guys see that and they get pissed off about it. But I think ride quality is where it's at. We do know for autonomous driving or somewhat autonomous driving, it would be a lot easier to adapt the Jeep brand if they were to do independent front suspension, and overall quality. The vehicle doesn't ride bad. I've enjoyed my experience with the Gladiator. It's the first brand new Jeep that I've owned. The build quality's been pretty great. I will say Jeep as a mid-size platform, they put a lot of attention to detail in this thing. The only thing I do not like that they've done, and I want to show this, is the door. Now, it's not difficult to get into this rear door, but what they've done is these are the exact same doors that you can put on the Wrangler, exact same doors. And to do that, to make this a little bit cheaper to build, they didn't put us a normal door in the rear of this thing. And I did a Photoshop one time where I kind of Photoshopped that line out there a little bit, and I think it looked better. But that was my initial ding of this thing. That and the way the fender kind of bleeds into the cab is a little strange, but overall, great vehicle, perfect vehicle, and I've been very happy with ours. And like I said, when you get to, I suggest everybody go test drive one of these things too. If you're looking for a mid-sized truck, don't be brand loyal with this. Go try, cleanse your palate and go try everything. I suggest try the brand. Don't try your favorite brand. Say if you're a Chevrolet Colorado guy and that's probably the truck you're going to end up with, go try this first. Just get a feel for driving differences, get a feel for layout. Then go to Toyota and try the Toyota and just get a feel for it. And I think it might sway you a little bit. Now, I don't care where you end up. You could go right back to your Colorado, but the mid-sized trucks are the variety of everything they offer is so nice. The Tacoma's looking a little bit older in the interior, but it's not ridiculous. The Gladiator, I will say, I have a 7.5-inch screen in ours. It's not the biggest that Jeep offers, but the infotainment center of it, perfectly fine to me. Their Uconnect 4 is, the operation of it is great. The only bummer and I think this will happen in the mid-cycle refresh, is you can't get wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But a lot of times we all have to charge our phones anyways, so it's plugged in. Doesn't bother me at all. It would be nice though to be able to just get in my vehicle like we can the Bronco, and for the most part, it connects. Bronco, whole nother story. Their sync system is great until it's not. But overall, the seating of this thing is probably the worst thing about it. So that's another reason I would suggest people getting in it. Not necessarily the seating position that you sit in, because you do sit up. It's a taller seat in my opinion. But it's a hard seat. And I've been told, I have no experience with the leather trimmed vehicles. I've heard that the cushioning is a lot softer, the seating is a lot softer. But I remember the first trip that I did in the Gladiator long term. We went to Michigan to cover something, and we drove up there and spent some time with Kelly's family. And man, about 300 miles in, my butt was hurting, and I mean my tailbone was just hurting. And I asked Kelly, I was like, how's your seating position? And she's like, my butt hurts. And my daughter in the rear seats was complaining that her butt bone hurts, man, because the seating, it's a hard seat. And there's probably a plus to this, that I think Jeep, they know their audience is going to go take these a lot off road. They're going to bounce around. I think eventually they think this seat does soften up. So give us a harder seat right now that maybe in 20, 30,000 miles, maybe cushions, it softens up a little bit. And then people don't complain that, hey, my seat's already worn out at 20 to 50,000 miles. That's just my opinion. But I will say the seating of these is not great. The steering wheel, everything about the setup of these vehicles, I love. I like the back of it. In the back of if you're holding in the normal 3 and 9 position, they put the volume and the channel changing on the back of the steering wheel, which I love. I wish more manufacturers would copy this. Now it does, if I'm not in the vehicle for a while, you do sort of forget which button's which. But if you daily drive one of these, I think you would be really fine. Let's see in the comments before we go too deep. Fubar says, save the solid axle for the Rubicon, and off-road package trims would make that package kind of worth it. Yeah, because a lot of people with Jeep, and especially Gladiator, I've seen them buy the sports, and they build them up, how they want, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But it might be a smart move to cause your market to shift to where you want it to be anyways. If the whole thing is for manufacturing is get you to spend as much as possible. And it might force people into those trims, and then you're people who just want to use them for beaches or just drive around town. I see quite a bit when the sun comes out here. Suddenly, I see Jeeps everywhere, and when it's cold, they're in the garage. So that's with the Wranglers, anyways. But it might, like I said, it might force your audience to kind of go that way. Let's see what else. Let's see. Steve P says Gladiator definitely looks better with bigger tires and has better proportions. Yes, 100%, 100%. Let's see. Going through your comments here. Broadcast Overlander says, I'm hearing that from Insider Stellantis that Gladiator's 1 to 8 per Wranglers. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all, and that would make my numbers work out about right. If they're selling 200,000 Wranglers and maybe 60 to 80,000 Gladiators, but that's a new market that they weren't didn't have maybe. The idea of Gladiator was to start stealing away sales from people like Toyota. Now Toyota will sell 200,000. I think they'll sell 220 to 230 Tacomas a year. So if you could start pulling away from that, and you're kind of playing in that off-road market, because Tacoma, a big segment that TRD stuff. They sell a lot of TRD option stuff, and that's an off-road package, and a lot of overlanding and stuff, and a lot of overlanders are adapting to the Gladiator. And for the size of it, that's maybe a plus, that you're getting that little bit longer bed that you can compete with the Toyotas and stuff of the world, where people want to put cargo, rooftop tents. So you do need a little bit of a lengthy bed on that. So it could be on that, but I do think sales are pretty healthy for the Gladiator. Let's see what we got here. Crashhead says, I think a 4-door Bronco would be great. Oh wait, Ford has the Ranger. Well, that is true. And, currently Stellantis doesn't offer anything in the Ram brand, or, well, Yeah, they don't have anything small pickup truck besides the Gladiator. Though rumors are there pesky rumors that you're about to see a Ram 1200 come out, which they might call it a Dakota, or they just might call it the 1200. So they do have something in that market. And I agree. Yes, they do have the Ranger, but the price point game is where these manufacturers win now. It's all about okay, this person's price point we'll say is $30,000. Okay, well we can max them out in the $30,000 there, but what for 30,100? What if you can keep pushing them? And if you look at the pickup trucks, look at midsize, what we're talking about today. Nissan Frontier will run you 45, a Pro 4X 45,000, something like that. A Titan, you can get a Titan for $45,000. It's what do you want? Do you want the V8 power? Do you want the size, or do you want the luxury? So they know how to push you into that. So I don't think with Ford it's necessarily them worried about, well, we'll cut into Ranger sales, because ultimately they don't care about cutting into their own sales as much as is they want to take away from somebody else. And this is a weird segment, and it's a mid-sized truck. The Gladiator is definitely a mid-sized truck, but it's a weird segment of mid-sized truck. Now, they do have a new paint color coming for 23. And the one thing that I think Jeep does very well is they know how to get your money with paint colors. Let's see. Dang it. Hog me in. These websites, man. Killing me. It's killing me. I've had a busy Saturday already. I've done 2 recorded videos, doing this. Me and Kelly, we're going to finish up the Bronco. We're putting some rock rails on the Bronco. Oh, and by the way, I have a Nissan Pathfinder to driveway. I have to finish up a video on. It's going to be a busy day for me. Let me see. Come on. Let me download this. Sorry. It's been kind of a cluster of a day here. Well, this thing's loading. I'm curious, if you right now, if you were, and I know I have a large Ford audience, if Ford were to make something similar to a Gladiator, where do you lean? Because I think if Ford does it, they don't put the long bed on it. I think it's more like the old H2 beds. You remember how they had the little kind of stubby bed? It was sort of a truck, but it wasn't. I think Bronco would do something like that, but I could be wrong. Let's see, download selected. There we go. Sorry, these websites, these media websites, everybody operates different, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. Let's go to Jeep.com right now, and I want to look at their website real quick with you guys, because this will give us some insight to where pricing wise of these things. So here is Jeep.com, the Gladiator. It's legendary 4-wheel drive capability and maximum utility. Do you think the maximum utility part is the bed? Is that how they sell you on the bed? Is maximum utility? But let's see. So there's best in class. So 7,700. I thought it might be around there. Best in class payload 1,700. Best in class diesel. That is right. That's the one cool thing about this is you can still get that eco diesel in this thing, and it's pretty boss to have that in your truck, because GM's done away with diesels in the small trucks, and I have a feeling you might get another year out of it with the Gladiator. I think ultimately people are they're finding out diesel's a little expensive, and it's I mean, yeah, if you're using it as a complete adventure vehicle, it might not be too bad, but it's pricey if you're just dailying it, in my opinion. So let's see. Let's go to buy here. So here's our lineup of Gladiators. So you start with the Sport, the Willys Sport, the Sport S, the Freedom, which these guys, like, can we not like shrink these packages down just a little bit? The Willys. So mine is a Willys Sport, if I remember right. In mine, I think 47.5 is where it was retail plus taxes and all that. We got the Overland, Rubicon, Mojave, and as you can see, they love their colors. Jeep knows more than anything, and that's kind of the fun thing of the Gladiators, a mid-sized truck, versus some of the other manufacturers. Is a lot of the other manufacturers just kind of do plain colors. They look at them as, that old school mentality of trucks are just made to be trucks, still sort of blends into the approach for colors with the mid-sized trucks. And Jeep does things differently. I like it. This new green they do on this Mojave, I love that color. It's fun. The blues, this firecracker red they do. But the problem with Jeep is they charge you for everything. And I mean everything. Look here. Look, you get one color. You can get white. White is no upcharge. Anything past that, oh, sorry, it's going to be $500. Well, I would just why not just make them all $500 cheaper, even white? Maybe there's a I mean, I do see quite a few white Wranglers out. Maybe that's a sales point. Is it a sales point for you? Would you guys be interested in paying extra, or were you like, nah, I'm kind of cheap? What's up, Cigar Texan? But as you can see, I love this color here. I've seen a couple Wranglers in this color at my dealership. I like that color. Now, are these colors that you might get tired of quickly? I don't know. They did have, my Snazzleberry, I think is a classic looking color. And especially, I don't know if you guys have seen that Snazzleberry on like a 1500 Ram. Oh, it looks good on that truck, man. But the interesting colors they option, you can get. Here's the new color. So this is what they call, it's a limited edition Earl Clear Coat. Now, Bronco guy may see that color and go, that looks awful familiar. That's right. Jeep is pretty smart to know that Bronco's playing on a lot of heritage. So you're starting to see the heritage edition kind of get some of these throwback colors. Well, Jeep's pretty smart with that. And Jeep's been adapting. They now in these Gladiators and Wranglers, you can get washout vinyl seating, which is hilarious to me. You can get 35-inch tires. Not in the you can't get the Recon package in the Gladiator, I don't believe, but I think you will. I think when they in 20, maybe 24, when we get some of the new refreshed options, they offer that in there. And I'm telling you, God, I want to drive this in a with that Hurricane engine in it, man. I'm telling you, you guys would love that engine. Would sit you back in your seat. But ultimately, good looking color on that. I think if Kelly saw this, she might have been like, "Hey, that was the color we need." But they offer a lot of fun colors, and it's something that the other manufacturers. I know Toyota kind of has that kind of lime color, and Toyota might be the exception to that because they have started to learn over the past 5 years or so. Throw some fun colors out there. Give the people something to make them make them want to come back in a year or so and trade that one in. And I think for Jeep that's a big thing, and for Wrangler and Gladiator especially, they every couple of years people like to trade every 2 to 3 years. I think the average lifespan of a vehicle for a family is like 2.5 years now. So they know, throw us a new color out there. But ultimately, this is a nice looking pickup. Soft top. I'm not a big fan of the soft top of this thing. I just think it's just not good. I would have honestly, I probably would have never offered the soft top in this vehicle if I was the designer of it. But there's heritage to it. I get it, But our hard top on this thing's great. It's not loud at all. You occasionally do get a little clicking from the hard top at the I noticed at the driver front where it meets the not the glass, but the body itself. Sometimes you'll get a little clicking there. That's to be expected in this style vehicle, which this style vehicle is something no other, This is, you're able to get a removable roof on this thing. Now let's go down there. I want to kind of show that real quick because they have a bunch of options you can get to it. So the black, this is the hard top, the Freedom panels, as they like to call it, and it looks great. That it's solid. You still get somewhat of a truck. There is a quietness to it versus a soft top. But I will say they're still not as quiet as a completely solid roof vehicle. But what other brand can you say that you can get a removable hard top in a midsize truck? That's where this thing wins out a little bit. Now, once again, the monster in the room is right here. I think you could have chopped this thing off about right there, and it might have been better. I think it's a proportion thing to the wheels. Now, Jeep knows they're going to go put 35s on these things, so it will adjust the look slightly. And these wheel wells definitely are made for a larger tire. And I do remember that was, I wish I could find that video. I may find that and put it in one of the comment sections here. That Jeep, when at launch, the head designer said, "Hey, we know people are going to buy these things and go right to their tire store and put the tires they want under it." So they know their audience very well, but do they know midsize trucks very well? That's the ultimate thing. But as you can see here, though, just not change anything but the color and a hard top, $52,000 for that. Now, You go to similarly priced vehicles or similarly optioned vehicles, and where you at? Now, nobody else besides Jeep's putting a front locker in theirs right now. We know the ZR2 is coming, but it's not out just yet. It'll get a front locker. But past that, you're playing in little options that people might like about this. Now, I will say, as far as the tops on these things, I think they could have made this a completely solid top, and nobody would have bothered them at all. Make the doors removable. I think people would have been fine. Because how many Gladiators have you seen going down the road with the tops off? I've taken mine off several times, but I couldn't tell you one time that I've been driving and I see plenty of Gladiators that I see the tops off with people cruising down the road. Now, you may go to a Jeep Beach Invasion deal and people do it there, but what a pain in the ass to you're in a hotel room. What do you got to deal with the top? Now, I guess it might be a little bit easier to get that top in your hotel room versus the Wrangler top, because all you're dealing with is this kind of L. Might be easier to get in a doorway there, but overall, I can't tell you anybody that's really that really has done that. Steve P, thank you for that. Thank you, sir. Show some love and hit that like button for me. That is right. We're trying to do something different here on the Saturday shows with the mid-sized trucks, and I do plan on having some people we're going to talk about down the road that are doing a lot with mid-sized trucks, some aftermarket companies as well. We might have some pre-recorded interviews with different manufacturers of that stuff that pop in here from time to time. So we're just getting started, and maybe we can coax Tim to come back a little bit. But as of if you were going to do a Gladiator, what color would you guys choose? Would you go with the black? That black looks sinister. The grays, I love their grays that they do. I think this one here is the Stingray. Yeah, the Stingray gray looks great. Their silver is not bad. This new color, I like this new color a lot, though I do think you would get kind of tired of it. What is this? Hydro blue looks great. This is a firecracker red, which is this was the launch color when they brought it out. Now it looks like they might be changing up the Rubicon badging a little bit. Now normally that's a dark outline. Is that just a web thing, or have I not caught that where they're changing it up? Looks cool though. Once again, I love this color quite a bit. This high velocity. The Sarge green there is pretty cool, and you got your classic white. And I will say the white, you kind of with the black plastics and all that kind of is pretty cool. So where are you guys at with that one? Where if you were in the mid-sized truck market, are you looking to overspend? Because I do feel a little bit that's what you're doing with the Gladiator. You're not getting a lot of no motor options right as of now. You're kind of getting the Mojave version of that thing is more of a desert runner. You're getting cast steel knuckles on that, so it's made to take a little bit more of a beating out front. Overall, you do get a rear locker in that, but you do not get a front locker in the Mojaves, where you go in the Rubicon. You do. As I've noticed wheeling these things, you do have to. It's a different style to wheel if you're doing any kind of rock crawling in them. It's a longer vehicle, so definitely skids under this thing, I would suggest. Now I know there's some guys putting 392s in these things. There was can't think of the channel name right now. A guy out of Canada has put I want to say he put a Hellcat in his, and it's pretty freaking wicked to hear that thing. You hear a big V8 in this thing start up. It's pretty epic. I'm not gonna lie, and I do dream of that. I know a lot of you guys you would love if they did this. Would it be the ultimate mid-size truck? I'm just thinking this. Would it be the ultimate mid-size truck if you could get a V8, the 392 in this on 35s from the factory? Would you pay $65,000 to $85,000 for that truck? Because that's where you're at with the the 392 package on the Wranglers. You're definitely 85 plus. So I think it would be fun. But I don't know if the market would. Wrangler, like we talked earlier, Wrangler sells over 200,000 a year. These are 80. You're already talking. You might sell what 1,500 to 3,000 392s in this thing a year. But guess what? Nobody could compete with you. No other mid-sized truck could compete with you if you dropped a V8 in that thing. And I, for one, would be pretty excited. So now let's get. You guys have comments? Anything you've noticed over the the week of mid-sized trucks? I do want to talk about real quick. Bring this thing up. GM Authority, and I did a video on this, so I don't want to hit it too hard, but I do want to show this. Wait, I can do it a different way. Bear with me, guys. I apologize. One-man operation sometimes is it's tough. Come on. There we go. Let's drop this over there. Well, you guys can play along at home. So there are more spy photos are popping out of the ZR2 Bison, and I think it's pretty epic. You guys know I've talked about this many times that I think that I like the design of the Chevrolet a lot better than the Ford Ranger, though I like the Ranger quite a bit. Obviously, you guys know I'm going for a Ranger Raptor because I want the most performance I can get out of a midsize truck. This thing's on 35s. The Ranger, we do as of now, we don't have any numbers to say that that the new Ford Ranger is going to come out with 35s. But look at this thing. This is a beast of a vehicle. So in about 15 minutes or so, I believe my video will drop on this. So hopefully you guys stay around and watch that video. Obviously, high clearance bumpers. You know, the Bisons usually they get some sort of a winch capable front bumper. I like the fact that there's no bull bar. The one thing on this truck that I like, I mean, it's very aero push. You know, there's no, it's sort of a stub nose, and the way they do that with the bull bars they're doing to me looks awful in the normal ZR2. But this right here, 35s from the factory, man, that's going to be pretty freaking epic. But I'm a little concerned at motor options, and I get into that in my video a little bit. So I'm definitely kind of like up in the air. Do you think they leave the 4-cylinder in that, but are they able to squeeze another maybe 80 horsepower out of that 4-cylinder? Because I think looks wise in 35s of this vehicle, front rear lockers is going to be epic. But I think Ford's got it with horsepower, and I think that's where you win out is horsepower. So I'm kind of curious where you guys are at with this quickly. I know this was talking about Gladiator, and I feel like we've hit all the high points of Gladiator. But if you guys have questions, what's up, John Burnett? Questions about it? Let's see. Fubar Medic says Hurricane engine inline 6 with the 35 solid roof, rear windows, and doors that come off, independent front suspension with disconnecting front sway bar. That would be an epic build, man. I really do. Now, obviously, the plant that builds the Wrangler Gladiators is built pretty specific for removable tops. I think they could do it, but it may have to be built somewhere else. But I think that would be a lot of fun vehicle, man. I'm telling you, when you guys get to experience this inline 6, they're going to put it in the Ram, we know, and go test drive it. It's a lot of fun. If it's the best of both worlds of kind of that tuner turbo engine and a V8. It's right in the middle, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But with the Colorado, I'm torn. I'm so torn on that truck. I don't think we see the Bison till probably this time next year. I think they'll launch it, and it's definitely a pre-order vehicle. But man, what a battle though! Put that inline 6 in the Gladiator. You got this badass Colorado on 35s. You got Ford's new Ranger Raptor that we know is coming with 418 horsepower. Nissan and Toyota better kick it up a gear. I'm telling you, they better step up because Toyota's suddenly going to look really, really old. I know they got a new design about to drop, and I mean about to drop soon. So stay tuned for that. You might see that truck really soon. But I think that we're in a midsize trucks. 2023, 2024 is the years of the midsize trucks, and I think we're about to have a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Let's see. C Square bought a billet silver Gladiator Rubicon manual last Saturday. Love it. No one should expect a crossover ride with the Wrangler / Gladiator. Yes, definitely. There's I'm not pooing on the Wranglers and Gladiators the way they drive. I just want people to their expectations to be set. It's just a different drive. But that's kind of why I think like people like buying the Wranglers and stuff. You see a lot of people driving it because they want to feel like you're participating in driving a vehicle. And sometimes these more moderns, I have a Pathfinder out there with semi-autonomous driving. It's fun, but I will say it's not the most exciting thing I've ever drove. So maybe that's part of the appeal of some of these vehicles, like these throwback vehicles, is people like to experience driving. So definitely a manual transmission. Let's see. Did I say manual transmission? Huh. It's nice. Love it. Let's see. Jerry, if they offered it even with a standard Hemi in this thing, I think sales would have been much higher. I agree. The 3.5, I don't know if C Square would talk about his experience of like if he stomped the pedal at all. It'll get up. Like you don't feel worried if you're getting on an on ramp. You don't feel like you're trying to get on the interstate. I'm not scared of my life that it's never going to get up to speed. But I think just in this high output age we live in, you just kind of expect a little bit more. But no, definitely a V8 in that thing would be perfect. But I'm telling you, I can't say it enough. The Hurricane engine in this thing would be that feel for you. And you get this kind of like when you rev it, it just gives you that little bit of a pop, which just it's exciting. We're never going to no V6, no straight six are ever going to sound like a rumbly V8. But it would be one of the closer things. Let's see. Car Spotter's Guide. Test drove Jeep Wagoneer. The magic is there of the old 4-liter. Nice, man. That is very nice. Wagoneer, big vehicle though. I mean, a big vehicle. Let's see. YouTube Car Spotter's Guide. GM charges for paint colors. Also, everybody does. But Jeep seems to be across the board. It's everything except white. I want to say the Ram brand. I might be just company wide how they do that. But it's pretty interesting. They have the Jeep brand with all their off-road goodies. Let me see if I can bring this up again real quick. They're very smart about making tow hooks. Do you guys remember when tow hooks used to want to hide tow hooks? I mean, like really hide them. Here, I'll show this. I've got my picture to load. Here it is. This is that new color, actual real picture of that blue. But look, they're smart. They started accenting their tow hooks and all that. And it looks like it is still the same Rubicon badging there. But they accented the tow hooks when nobody else was doing it. They leaned into it. They leaned into the fact that, hey, this makes people want these kind of vehicles because they want to look off-road. And I think that's, like oh man, you talk about getting trashed in a video. All these bolts, see all these little bolts in there? I dinged the Bronco bumper for that when it was initially launched. We didn't know a ton about it. All those bolts everywhere, I dinged them for that. The Bronco bolts, and I mean it's still here in this, but they're smart about it. They could hide that stuff. That could all be recessed into that bumper, but they play into that, which is that's something about the Jeep brand they love. They just like to do that. Ultimately, though, look at this. They know too. With the Rubicon, you're going to get the rear bumper skids, which is nice. It does bolt right into the frame. So that's nice. So that thing, you could probably use your high lift jack on that and zero issues. The rock rails look so long on this truck though, just so long. But ultimately, that color is so pretty. I love it. You guys notice something missing? Notice how they've photoshopped the antenna out. That's funny. Just noticed that. I was like, oh, is that the Jeep badge? No, are they putting the I can't remember on mine. I don't think mine has the off-road badge either on there, but ultimately great looking vehicle. I love driving mine. I'll be sad when mine disappears, but I've got to move on to another midsize truck. And we've done plenty of time with this. So if you guys are interested in that Jeep, we have 43 on the website. We would out the door take $40K for it all day long, and it's like a brand new truck. Like I said, I've got one little pinstriping on the clear coat that I'm going to buff out. Other than that, great truck. Would feel, Jeep always has, there's always people ding them for quality issues, and most of that is because those early, when they switched to the V6s, some of those early little minivan motors they were putting in there would leak oil, the heads would leak. But these new ones, I would take mine across the country, zero issue at all. Zero issue. So in the comments below, guys, let me know what you think. Is that Photoshop snow? I don't think so. It looks maybe the road part is. Here, I'll pull this up for you again. We'll examine it. I don't think that's Photoshop snow, because look at that. You would have to get it real detailed to some of that. Michigan's had quite a bit of snow, and I'm assuming that's where this was taken. Those are nice pine trees. But the snow with that color looks great. Looks great. So, guys, smash that like button for me. Next week, we will be back to talk some more midsize truck down the road. I will say in the show, and I'll give plenty of notice, but some of this we coach softball. So I'll have to help my daughter out with that a little bit. But I will do a Saturday show, but the time may change. So, but right now we're going to be mornings. Hopefully these times are working out for you guys. I know they're on the West Coast who you guys always chime in. I know it's a little bit early for you, but we appreciate you jumping in. So whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or these fun Gladiators, I do enjoy driving. This has been your all-terrain nation. We've been talking mid-sized trucks here on the channel, and we're out. Peace, everybody. See y'all Monday night for Bronco Talk Live.